Good morning. We're live. Hi, friends. I would like to talk to you, Black women, today about not stopping the boycotting. Don't just stop at boycotting retailers like Target. I don't mean add other things to your boycott. I mean, let's examine where else we're spending our money that doesn't align with our values. But spoiler alert, it might be your entire state or your entire country. Can we let this idea of examining if the places that we're spending our money, the places that we're spending our energy, our effort, our time, let's keep examining whether or not these things align with our values and make the moves as necessary. I one day stopped shopping at Walmart and now I live in Colombia. Okay. So let's talk about what this can lead to. We've done a wonderful job, I think. I'd like to talk with you today about your experience with boycotting things. I think we've done a wonderful job at doing a thing. Now let's let some more dominoes fall. Also, I think we could talk a little bit today about how we got sucked into retail therapy and hyperconsumerism in the first place, and how leaving the United States of America and living abroad can change your perspective, your approach to life. Okay, so those are the conversations I would like to have today. Hi, I'm Stephanie Perry. On this channel, I help Black women take sabbaticals or career breaks. I help Black women move abroad. I help Black women bop around as a nomad. If these things sound interesting to you, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Please hit the button. You see it. While you're subscribing, I'm going to pour myself a little water. Okay, thank you. All right. And also turn on notifications, ring the notification bell. You'll be notified when I post a new video or when I go live with my friends. Welcome. Hey, friends. Good morning, Erica. Good morning, The Plant Plan. Good morning, Allison. Thank you kindly, Allison. Good morning, Toya Washington and Wanda Heath. Hi, everybody. Hey, GMAC and Marty and ALM. Over here, we say good morning, even no matter how rushed I am, no matter how wrinkled I am. I'm rushed and wrinkled. Look at that. Okay, no matter, no matter what we're talking about, we do start off saying good morning over here, or good afternoon or good evening if you're watching the replay. So say hi in the chat. You can do it, right? You can do it on your phone, on your laptop. Say hello to me and to us. I'm in Bogota, so it's only 9 a.m. It's not like it's crazy early in the morning. 9 a.m. Saturday morning in Bogota, nice slow morning. So hi. Okay, hi friends. All right, so let's talk about the Target boycott first. Okay, I want to start with the Target boycott. Are you doing it? How's it going? Tell me everything. I've been in Colombia. I've been out of the United States except for 2 weeks or maybe 3. I've been out of the United States since January or since December. Since December, I was in Delaware, maybe October. Since October, I think it's actually since October. I've been out of the United States except for 2 or 3 weeks. So boycotting Target. But no, that's not true because I did a lot of conferences and stuff. I was in Las Vegas, November and February. No, that's not true. I've been out of the country quite a bit, but less than usual. Because I attended 2 or 3 different conferences from Thanksgiving to Easter. So what I'm getting at is there's no Target in Colombia, okay? And before that, I was in Costa Rica. There's no Target in Costa Rica. But that didn't mean that I didn't have a Target addiction just like you. I love Target. And if you asked me before, 2025, I would have told you that Target was my happy place because it really was. Because I could walk into a Target, I just need toothpaste and deodorant, right? I walk into a Target, I'm roaming around every single aisle. I'm in the sheets and towels section. Why am I in linens and bedding? I don't even own a home. I don't have a home. I'm a house sitter, right? I stay in people's houses or Airbnbs. Why am I in the bedding section, feeling the towels? Seriously, Target was my happy place. It was a thing that I was always excited about coming back to the United States for. I haven't technically lived in the United States since September of 2015, right? So we're going on 10 years, 9.5 years and counting. And still, Target was a happy place for me. But once Target said, oh, you know what, we were just kidding. We know we had said we felt like Black people mattered. We know we had said Black lives matter and Black businesses matter, but we were just joking. We didn't mean it. It wasn't sincere, right? As soon as that was the word, it was really easy for me to put that down. I was in Las Vegas. So when I was in Las Vegas, November and February, and then I was in Delaware and New York in April. And normally I would have hit Target 3 or 4 times. Last time I went to Las Vegas, so in November, when I went to Las Vegas, and I was in Las Vegas for a conference that I was speaking at, the Author Nation conference for authors. I was a speaker at that conference. I still went to Target 3 times. I went to 3 different Targets in Las Vegas because it was my happy place. It was a place that I went to poke around. One of them was right on the Strip, and it was teeny tiny. It was kind of fun to see that little itty bitty Target. I went to one that was maybe 5 minutes away, and one that was like far away because I was leaving town and I had a rental car, So I went to 3 different Targets. It was literally a place that I loved being in. I loved being in there. And I didn't mind spending a whole lot of money on stuff that I didn't really need. I've bought the same black, what is the mug, that black mug? I'm in the process of removing my nail polish as I speak to you because I can't go one more day on video looking like this, right? What's that mug I have? I don't have it with me right now, but I have a mug. Black is beautiful, Black is magic, something like that. I've bought that mug 3 times. The first one I bought, I accidentally left in an Airbnb in Costa Rica. Now, it's an Airbnb that I had stayed in that same Airbnb 3 or 4 different times. So I felt like there's a chance that I might run into that mug again. There's a chance they may have kept it in the kitchen. But then I went ahead and rebought it. And then I left that one in Delaware. And then I rebought another one and I traveled around with that one. I left the second one at my mom and dad's house and it's still there. And I traveled around with another one, which I may or may not have with me this time. So this time when I left Delaware, I needed to be a little lighter on luggage than usual. I bought that same mug at Target 3 times. I had no problem just blowing money, just spending it. So we're gonna talk a little bit about retail therapy's role in my life, okay? But you know what? Since January, I believe it was January when they were like, oh, DEI, we were just joking. We were just joking about our initiatives to help, to promote Black businesses. We didn't mean it. That wasn't sincere. It was reactionary. And we're done with that. I haven't set foot in another Target. And I feel pretty good about that. So how's it going for you? I asked you those questions. How's it going for you? Erica, I'm boycotting Target. Good decision. I miss their stuff though. Okay. Let's talk about what kind of things we might miss in our lives by not going into Target. Hey, Miss Callie, no Target for me. Disco, Nap, no Target, Walmart, Amazon, or grocery store chains. So Amazon also, the Amazon stuff that I'm slow to stop doing, slow to boycott is Audible for audiobooks because the others make it so hard. Honestly, I listen to a lot of audiobooks and I need to learn how to use another platform for audiobooks. So I'm still subscribed to Audible. And I did look up a video on Amazon Prime the other day and I forgot. I was like, after the fact, it's because I'm in Colombia, I couldn't watch the video anyway. After the fact, I was like, girl, what are you doing? We're not fucking with Amazon. What are you doing? But Audible is the leg or the arm, the branch of Amazon that I'm having a hard time with, right? Okay, Monique in Nature, who Target? Who that? I don't know her. Michelle Adams, good morning, Michelle. Originally, I said it was for 40 days, but I've been boycotting ever since. Okay, good. Yeah. I think it's wonderful to look at your priorities, your values, and say, I don't want my money going to somebody who is antithetical to my values, and stop spending money there. In the United States, I have not shopped in Walmart in the US. Gosh, I don't know, like literally 10 years, 15 years, very early on when people in the labor union movement were like, here's some things that Walmart does that is really sucky. I was like, okay, well, I just won't shop there. It was pretty easy for me. I bought one thing. Oh, you know what? I still have it too. I bought one thing at a Walmart in the United States over maybe 15 years. And it was I wanted a little tiny clipboard and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I said, I know I can find it in Walmart. And I still have that little tiny clipboard. But for 15 years, I didn't shop at Walmart in the United States. The only reason I've shopped in Walmart is in Costa Rica. It's so convenient. Walmart in Costa Rica and Mexico, I do go in. I haven't stopped them. Now I'm in Colombia. I'm in Bogota. Ain't no Walmart. So boom, they've made it easy for me. But yeah, listen, I'll drop you in a second if I think that I don't want you to have my money. You know, I believe your money is your voice, your vote. Your money is your vote, right? Because no matter who you go and select in the ballot box, that person that you check off in that ballot box is going to do what the megacorps tell them to do. So the best way, I think, for us to vote, the best, sincerely, you can be mad at me and you can disagree with me on this, okay? But I think the most effective way for us to vote is with our money. Because if megacorp doesn't have the power, the money anymore, they can't pay the politicians anymore. They can't dictate the way things operate anymore. That's my approach to things. So I found that being in Las Vegas, I found that Walgreens had a lot more stuff than I thought, right? I thought it was going to be hard to replace Target. The knickknacks and stuff, the mugs, I don't need anymore. I don't need to go in and buy a mug every time I walk into a store. But the like drugstore stuff, Walgreens has been a good replacement. Walgreens is owned by the Boots Corporation out of the UK, but they are in the process of selling to a private equity firm, which may be terrible, right? So for now, Walgreens, I feel fine spending my money with Walgreens. Boots has a decent reputation, right? But who knows if Walgreens will stay a priority. CVS is owned by one of the insurance companies, so I don't mess with CVS either. I don't go in CVS, right? For me in the US, it's basically Walgreens or nothing at this point, right? But being out of the United States makes it easier. Yeah. Release your life. Target was my go-to for journals and cards, no more. So I bought Rashida made a video on her channel not too long ago talking about the things that she just buys directly from the producer now, directly from the maker. So the lady who makes one of those beautiful journal companies in Target, I just ordered from her directly. Somebody will know. I don't want to take the time to look it up. I just went to her website and ordered journals, right? All of the things that I needed from Target lately, while I was in Asia and I knew I was coming back to the United States, I was coming back to my parents' house in March and April. I just ordered a bunch of stuff from a bunch of different retailers instead. So in Target, I used to get my the lip bar lip liners. I would buy them in threes and just put them in different places. And I got one right here. You can see how little we're at the end of the line here. We're almost at the end of the line. Instead, I bought my lip liners directly from the Lip Bar, right? I went to the Lip Bar's website. My vitamins that I showed y'all last time, the Black Girl vitamins, I used to get those from Target. Okay, I just ordered them from Black Girl Vitamin. So and then the Walgreens, I went to buy a birthday card recently. Last time I was in the US. Oh, I went and bought Rashida a birthday card and I forgot to take it to her in Mexico anyway. When I went to Mexico, I forgot to take it. But I did find some cute birthday cards in Walgreens. So it worked out. Things are working out. Yeah, Roshni says you were the first person I thought of when they announced the Target boycott. Yeah, so before any formal boycott was announced, as soon as Target said, listen, seriously, that day, as soon as Target said, oh, you know how we've been promoting Black businesses on our shelves? You know how we've set aside I think it was 12% or 17% of our shelf space for Black businesses. We're not doing that anymore. I was like, okay, done. Okay, done. I don't have to go into a Target ever again. I am a person, I saw the 2020 Exodus Summit got some 2020 money, some 2020 guilt money, some 2020 Black Lives Matter guilt money, Black business guilt money. We got some. Exodus Summit 2020 had some sponsors, some corporate sponsors. And after that one deposit of cash, they were like, we don't know you. After that one conversation where they're like, oh, we're so committed to this and we feel like that, and Black women businesses this and that, right? And then next time we talk to them, they're like, that was the 2020 thing. You should be clear on that. From then on, I was very hyper clear that none of this so-called commitment was commitment, right? It was just talk. It was just, it was like turning your Facebook profile Black. It was just show, right? So I appreciated Target and their commitment to giving Black businesses shelf space. But once they turned back that commitment, so did I, right? It was really easy for me. Now I'm a Cancer. People don't like it when you say things like this, but I am a Cancer, and notoriously Cancers love you and love you, love you until we don't. And then it's very easy to not love you anymore. There are people who will go back and forth, weigh things out, think it through. And what about this? And Cancers are not that. I love you until I don't. And then I don't even remember you. Oh yeah, you existed. That's right. So it was upsetting in the fact, it wasn't upsetting that I wasn't going to be shopping at Target anymore, right? Even though it was my happy place, even though I have a lot of Target selfies. For my thumbnail today, it was really easy to find pictures of me holding Target bags, because it's a thing I used to do, right? I fly in from Costa Rica, go to a Target, take a picture in front of the Target with my bags. It's a thing. Target was my happy place, right? But once they said, oh, you know what? We would rather pander to neo-Nazis, right? We would rather give in to the Nazis. Okay, easy. I don't want Nazis to get my money. And if you side with Nazis, you're a Nazi. It's also why Airbnb, I'm struggling replacing Airbnb as a full-time traveler, as a woman who has traveled full-time since 2015. I'm not saying replacing Airbnb is easy, but you're not getting my money. One of the founders of Airbnb decides he's on the side of Nazis, one of the founders and current shareholders. He's not just a founder who exited. He's still a board member. I don't want him to have my money. So instead, I'm with Marriott Bonvoy has a Marriott Villas program that sucks. I hate it. But I've used it. It's not been good. This is VR. I've rented this through VRBO. It's hard to find one-bedroom VRBOs in Bogota. But anyway, easy, right? I don't want Nazis to get my money. As a person who sincerely believes that her money is her vote and her money is her voice. It was an easy switch to flip. I flipped the switch, no problems. Anybody having a different experience? The plan. It's not just the places we shop, it's the volume of stuff. So yeah, that's why I wanted to talk about, the first thing I said was we want to talk about money, spending money in places that align with our values. But we also want to look at how we got sucked into hyperconsumerism. Because from my laptop in Colombia or Costa Rica or Vietnam, I've seen some stuff that makes me think that we are the easiest programmed animals that exist. There are cats in the world that are more thoughtful about their actions and movements than human people. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Stanley Cup rage. Have you missed this? Have you experienced this? I'm talking about here's what I bought at the grocery store content, where people go to a grocery store, bring their groceries home, record themselves taking the stuff out of the packaging and putting it in packaging that they paid for, taking their eggs out of the egg carton and putting their eggs in a plastic container that they paid for. Why have you paid for a container that acts as an egg carton? That pisses me off. I'm so mad about container TikTok. Container TikTok is the death of us. Why are you taking your cereal out of the cereal box and pouring it into a container so that you can sell that container to other people, so that you can be an affiliate and get affiliate income on container? Container TikTok is killing me. Y'all, container TikTok, I hate it. And it's just like us when we don't have money like that. Like the average American person, you have enough money to go buy an egg carton when your eggs already come in a carton? Makes me mad. That really made me mad, right? How did we get here? How did we get to this point where our whole life is about what we bought and what we can show people that we bought, right? I'm behind in the chat, so I'm going to just forward myself into the chat. It's crazy wasteful. You don't have to have TikTok to see it. If you have a job, you work with somebody who has a Stanley Cup and Stanley Cup Accessories, who has multiple Stanley Cups and Stanley Cup Accessories, including like a ring that you put around your cup, a keychain for your cup. Pisses me off. It's not about I own two different cup type things. One I got for free at the YouTube conference. The other thing I bought years ago, of course, at Target, that I'm looking at it because it's right there. It's not clean, but it's right there, right? But there are people who will go on the internet and show off their 18 different Stanley Cups. You work with those people, right? Extreme consumerism is the death of us. Now, if you need to have it's because it's not about having the things. It's about people knowing that you have the things, because this wouldn't exist without social media, right? If you need to have 18 of the exact same thing, 18 of them, so that you can show people that you have 18 of them, we're doomed. We're doomed. They own us. Megacorp, evil corporation, President Business. Have you seen the Lego movie? President Business, he owns us. It's over. And so the Stanley Cup has a gift, Stephanie. Release me. The Stanley Cup has a gift. I don't know what that means, Rashni, but you need one. The reason I'm drinking out of a regular cup instead of mine is it's dirty and I don't have a dishwasher. So I haven't washed dishes. Yeah, I didn't wash dishes yesterday. And so I'm drinking out of a regular cup instead of my cup, my water cup thing that I like. I've been a person who used retail therapy, who used shopping as a way to feel good. When I worked at the hospital, when I worked night shift at Christiana Hospital, and I worked in the hospital pharmacy, I often went to TJ Maxx before I went home, right? If I got off at a little late, if I had to maybe stay late because of XYZ, somebody else is late or whatever. If I had to stay a little late, the TJ Maxx across from the hospital opened at 8 o'clock, I believe. It might have been 7:30. It opened really early. So I would often go to TJ Maxx before I went home. Sometimes I would walk through, sometimes I would buy something, little something, shampoo. Like I got personal care items from the TJ Maxx across from the hospital. So I might have actually needed something, but often it just felt really nice to walk into a place and walk out with a bag. It didn't really matter what was in the bag. It didn't matter if it was a bag of caramel popcorn, right? Going to TJ Maxx and buy caramel popcorn. Why would you do that? Because it felt really good to buy something. Some of that was about money. about, well, now I have money. I went from having zero discretionary income, right? And robbing Peter to pay Paul to having enough money that I can walk into TJ Maxx and spend $40 and it not really be that big of a problem. Some of it was that, I think, but I think more of it was just that little dopamine hit that you get from buying something. And I didn't have another way to replace that. I didn't have a thing that gave me that dopamine hit or that whatever it is. It may not be that hormone, but whatever that hormone is, I didn't have anything that gave me that hormone. But one day I got a hobby. One day I got a hobby and I needed less retail therapy. That was my first like eye opener about shopping. My mom is a shopper. She loves to shop. One time my mom came home and she was like, I'm so sick of Macy's. You go there and it's always the same stuff. And I was like, Mom, stop going to Macy's every day. Because she went to Macy's every day after work, right? One day she'll walk through the shoe department. One day she'll walk through the dresses, right? So it comes to me honestly. But one day I started running and I had a hobby and I needed less of that dopamine hit because running gave me good adrenaline, good hormones, whatever running does for you, right? And I was like, if you have a hobby, you can get some of those same feelings that I was getting from shopping, even though I didn't have the money to be shopping like that, right? So that was my first introduction to like a way that we're told is fine in America. We're told retail therapy is fine. We're told that shopping and hyper-consumerism are fine. We're told that having your garage and your basement full of stuff and still having to pay for a storage unit, that's fine. We're told that that's fine, right? And then 2015, I quit my job to travel for a year. And I got to be out in the world. I went to Southeast Asia primarily, but I also went to Europe a little bit. I spent the summer in Australia. And that's when I was like, a second light bulb. Other people don't do it like this. Now, Australians do shop a lot, and there's Target in Australia, right? Australians did shop a lot, but in other places, you get what you need, but you don't just fill up your car. First of all, you probably don't have a car. You probably have a motorbike or an actual bicycle. And so you don't have a lot of empty spaces to fill. You probably lived with a couple generations of people. And so the empty spaces that we're trying to fill from shopping don't even exist when you live in other places. Those empty spaces are actual physical spaces like physical rooms and cars. But those empty spaces are here also because you don't have the same time for community. All you can do is work. If you squeeze out a little bit of time to shop, you're lucky. You don't have time for hobbies and work. You don't have time for hobbies and community and connection. Empty spaces. America is about filling empty spaces. And when I left America, some of those spaces filled up with other things. Some of those spaces disappeared entirely. So I haven't had a home of my own since 2015. I went and looked at an apartment in Columbia yesterday. And even then the man was like, this apartment is too big for one person. I'm like, mind your business, sir. Mind your business, right? But life in the United States is about empty spaces. When I'm out of the United States, I don't have those same empty spaces. And so, as you know, I always have an agenda. And so, yes, I want to talk about boycotting and our relationship with stuff, but I want to talk about that with the understanding that it's America. America is the problem. America is the problem. There are some problems in your life that you can't solve by leaving the country, because no matter where you go, there you are. But seriously, if your problems stem from you not having enough time for real relationships in your life, and so you're trying to fill that emptiness up with things, leave the country. You'll have time for relationships, okay? The man who I went to see the apartment with from yesterday, he was like, I told him that I'd spent a couple of years in Costa Rica. And he said, yeah, I understand. I can see that you understand Spanish better than you speak Spanish. He said, you know what's going to fix that for you? I said, what? I kind of knew what he was going to say, because people always say this. When you get a boyfriend here in Bogota, your Spanish is going to improve so much. I was like, okay, thank you. Right. Having the emptiness of not having real community, right? The emptiness of being a person who has to do things all on your own and not having real community, real connection with other people. That emptiness, we try to fill it up with shopping, and we try to fill it up with objects and things. The problem is they don't work. That's why you keep going back. If that worked, then that thing would be so helpful. I showed a picture on Facebook the other day. Can I upload a photo here of my garage, of my yard sale in 2015? When I needed to sell my stuff, I packed up my car, moved my stuff took my stuff to the yard sale in my brother's neighborhood and set up in his front yard. And one of the things in the picture is that little garden stool. It's like light blue, light teal, little garden stool that I waited and waited for it to go on sale because I wanted it so bad. I wanted that thing so bad. And then when I got it in the house, I was on to the next thing that I need and that I want. That garden stool, it didn't make me happy. Buying the garden stool did give me a little dopamine hit, but it didn't fill anything. It didn't fix anything. Right. Next, now I need some new vases, and next I need some art, and next I need some, right? However, community, connection, relationships, it's not a bottomless pit. It's not a bottomless pit like shopping is. It fills the need, fills that hole. You can fill those needs. Okay. So leaving the United States showed me that and helped me to do that. And now I'm a person with community, with relationships. I'm still a hermit. I'm still a person who likes to spend a lot of time at home alone in the quiet, right? But I have the community and connection that shopping couldn't give me, that hyper-consumerism couldn't give me. I was never a person who was going to be a workaholic, but I was a person who was going to try to fill needs with things. And leaving the country has really helped me with that. Okay, how are we feeling about this conversation? Anybody with me? Anybody not with me? Where are we? Okay. Yeah, I knew that's what he was going to say, even before he got the sentence out. I knew, because people always say that. I'm not mad at it. Use men, listen, men use women for things. I'll use a man to learn some Spanish. I got no problem using a man to learn some Spanish. I should have told him, if you know anybody, send him my way. Right? Send him my way. Yeah, so I think that is when I talk on people's platforms and they ask me, so you took this year and you traveled around the world, what did that change for you? How did that change you? I always say it gave me perspective, right? It helped me look at my whole life in perspective. But sometimes I'm not good at saying what specific things, right? So it helped me see that work is not supposed to be your whole life. That's probably the first thing that I learned by leaving the United States. We're told that work is supposed to be your life because the United States is a country that's built on the foundation of slavery. And there were people for whom work was the whole life, and the system didn't operate. The country doesn't work. The country doesn't succeed unless there are people who work for whom their whole life is work. You can't be a whole person. And that stayed. Maybe slavery in most of its forms was taken off the books. But the concept that you are not a whole person, you're a worker, still exists for everybody in the US. Unless you're president, business, evil corporation person, that's still how you live your life in the United States. You're a worker, not a person who goes to work and leaves work. You're a worker. That's all they care about. That's why y'all don't have universal health care. It's why y'all don't have low cost college education, because you're not a person. You're a worker. You're someone from whom we extract labor. And then even if we do pay you, we extract that money from you as well. You're here to feed corporations. You're not here to live your life. So that was a thing that I learned looking back, going out of the United States and looking back at our lives in the US. That's the first thing I learned, that I'm not a whole person yet. I'm just a worker. I need to work on being a whole person, put work in its place. But the other thing that I saw is community. I saw connection. I saw people together. I saw places where it's perfectly normal, natural, good for generations of people to live together. I saw people who very rarely lived alone, very rarely lived alone, who very rarely did everything alone, very rarely raised their children alone. I saw grandparents picking kids up from kindergarten or taking kids to school. I saw people at dinner at 9 o'clock at night, 3 generations, 4 generations of family sitting out at a restaurant on a weekday, having dinner at 8 or 9 at night. I saw the difference between being a person and being a worker. And I saw the emptiness that created. I think those are the main things that I saw leaving the country. I saw time, like a different priority about time, right? I saw like how urgent everything is in the United States and how nothing is urgent when you leave the United States. Nothing is urgent. Calm down. It's going to happen when it happens. I unlearned that sense of urgency. Those are things that leaving the United States did for me. And so when I say don't stop at boycotting Target, I mean continue to examine what things no longer align with your values and continue to rip those things out of your life, whether it's hard or easy. So, right, Amazon and Target were pretty easy for me. Audible's hard and I need to work on it. So I saw Tori was telling me use Libby. So Libby, we need an easier system. Why do I need to wait? Why do I need to get in line for a digital product? It's an audio book. Why do I need to sign up for a wait list? I tried Libby years ago and it's not any better today. From like 2019, 2018, when I didn't have any money, 2017, I tried Libby. It's no better today. I hate those things. Why haven't they made a better system? So let me try Everend or Kobo. Thank you, Tori. Right? Okay, use Everend. You said Everend. Okay, thank you. Let me take a screenshot of that. Because no, why am I waiting in line for a digital? It's a digital product. I mean, I know it's licensed. I know the answer. I just hate the answer. I hate it. I understand the licensing. I just hate it. It's stupid. I want to read the book. Why aren't these big major publishers giving libraries these books? Why isn't there a better system? Why isn't there a better way? I understand it's licensing, but I hate it. It's 2025 and we haven't come up with a better way to borrow books and audiobooks than waiting in line for 4. My library has 2 versions of this popular book. Everybody in the world, what was the book I wanted to read? It became a movie, Little Fires Everywhere. The year that Little Fires Everywhere was out. That's the year that I was, when did that come out? The book, not the TV show. When did that book come out? That's how long it's been. 2017. So 2017, I'm on Libby. I don't have any money, and I'm trying to borrow Little Fires Everywhere from my library. My library has 2 versions of this mega popular book that everyone was reading. Everywhere you walked, people were reading that book, and you got 1 or 2 versions of it. Stupid system. Stupid system. Okay. All right. So did anyone come up with a different place or other places that don't align with their values? So I've named a few, right? Target, for me, Target and Walmart and Amazon and Airbnb, which is really pissing me off because the Marriott Bonvoy, their vacation villas system it sucks because no one really has ownership. And with Airbnb, if I have this place, I'm staying in a rental right now, vacation rental right now. And the man he owns more than one property in this unit in this place. And everybody's got the same door code for the individual doors, not for the main door, for the individual doors. So a lady got off on the wrong floor and accidentally put in her door code and opened my door. Right? So with Airbnb, VRBO, you have customer service that's like, oh, let me fix this, or do you want us to put you up in a hotel? With Marriott Bonvoy, they're like, talk to the owner. And the owner is like, talk to Marriott. And Marriott's like, talk to the owner. And the owner's like, talk to Marriott. There's no ownership. So there's not been trying to substitute. Trying to find a substitute for Airbnb sucks. It sucks. I can't wait to just sign this lease. Somebody let me rent a place. I'll just stay there. Okay. Please help me. Hotels, Marriott Bonvoy, I got no beef with them, but I also don't want to be so loyal to them that if they do become Nazis, I feel betrayed. So I'm also getting my Hilton points up. The last place I stayed was a Hilton. So I can get my Hilton status up so that if Marriott Bonvoy goes the way of these other businesses, it won't be so devastating to try to replace them, right? Like that's life. That's life as a person who feels like her money is her vote. Facebook, girl. Facebook, Exodus Summit, the Exodus Summit community will be off Facebook very soon, okay? If you're one of the people who was never able to join the community because you're not on Facebook, I used to say it's worth it, right? It's worth it to join Facebook to be on our community. I still stand by that, but we're getting off there, okay? We're getting off of Facebook. It won't be long. If you're on Facebook today and you want to join the Exodus Summit community so that you don't miss our migration, so you don't miss us when we say, here's where we're going and here's how you get there. Join us at exodussummit.com/community. This is May 31st, 2025. If you're watching this later in the summer of 2025, we're probably already off Facebook. So go to that link and see where it takes you, because it might be a whole different place. Might be a whole different platform. Go to exodussummit.com/community. Join us. The Exodus Summit community is a 25,000 person community. 25,000 Black women are in the Exodus Summit community. 25,000 Black women who are interested in leaving the country, whether it's short-term, long-term, something in between. 25,000 Black women who are interested in career breaks or sabbaticals or traveling the world like a nomad or moving to another place. It's a really helpful and community-focused community. Anybody getting together today? Let's see if there's any meetups today. There are meetups in the Exodus Summit community. If you feel like there aren't really people where you live who, you can talk to about these things, who really get why you want to leave the country, why you want to quit your job, why you want to retire early, and you need to find some friends who are like-minded, that's what we do in Exodus Summit. So tomorrow there's a meetup in Austin, Texas, and Sunday, June 1st, there's a meetup in, both of those are tomorrow, Phoenix. Austin, Texas, and Phoenix. And Rashida's meetup is today, right? When is not Rashida's meetup. When is the San Miguel de Allende? Oh, yesterday. Yesterday, there was a meetup in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. I haven't seen any pictures, so I need to look for that. Yeah, so we'll be leaving Facebook before, I would really like to leave Facebook before before the summit, and before the summit for me means before September. So like June, July, or August, we're going to move everybody off to someplace else. We don't have a good candidate yet because everything has a downside. Everything has a negative, but we'll see. If some of these things don't have a free, some of the platforms that we want to move to don't have a free tier where you can screen the members. What we don't want is to just be on a platform where anybody can join and see what we're doing. We always need to screen and make sure that you're a Black woman, which is a reason that Facebook worked out so nicely, because you have a profile picture right there. Or if we don't have a profile picture, we can click over to your profile and look and find a picture of you. So don't get upset if we have to say this is a $1 tier, $1 lifetime tier, because we haven't found a platform yet that will do a good job of letting us screen women before they join. That is a free membership, right? That has a free tier where you can screen people. Most of them have a free tier where anybody can join, and then you can screen people for the paid tier. So our paid tier would most likely be like $1 for lifetime. So be prepared, okay? Get your dollar together. It'll also make it easier to see the events. Most of these platforms make it easier to see the meetups that are happening, and you'd be able to join like an actual group for that group for that area. It'll make it easier. Anybody else that we should be? Okay. Hi, Kat. So you went to the meetup. How was it? Good. Zane says, quiet as is kept. These hospital systems don't align with my values. Absolutely. That's why I said I don't go to CVS, because CVS is owned by one of the insurance companies. I don't remember which one now. I don't think it's United Healthcare. Let me Google that. Who owns CVS? Maybe it's the other one. What's the other one? Maybe it's not CVS that's owned by the. Maybe no, CVS is owned by CVS is what I'm getting. One of them is owned by, or maybe it's the other way. Does CVS own Aetna? CVS owns Aetna, not Aetna owning CVS. Anyway, I hate that healthcare for profit is so greedy. I understand why that man shot that man. Because healthcare in the United States comes down to whether you live or die, comes down to some dollar calculation on a spreadsheet. If you have an illness that you need your insurance to treat you for, whether you live or die, comes down to a calculation on a spreadsheet. And I hate that for Americans. I hate it. And so that's why I wasn't shopping at CVS. I may have it wrong. What's the other? So we have Walgreens, we have CVS, and we have in the United States, Walgreens, CVS, and what's the other one? So what's the solution? Go to another country. Let's see who owns Rite Aid. This is a thing that I do, right? If I need to buy something, who owns it, right? Nestle is another corporation that I tried my hardest to stop giving money to. Walgreens bought Rite Aid, so I'm good with Walgreens. Nestle is another company that I tried my hardest to stop giving money to. Every now and then something will sneak up. So you have to like look at things. If there's something that I buy regularly, like all the time, I have done my looking at the package or Googling to make sure it's not a Nestle brand, right? What what is the last thing? In the United States, Kit Kat bars are not Nestle, but out of the United States, Kit Kat bars are Nestle. Like, seriously. So you used to be okay eating Kit Kats, but now, oh, what's going on? Why am I breaking out? But now, no, right? But it's the thing I do. If it's something that I buy regularly, I look at it, make sure, right? What brands of water here in Colombia, what brands of water are Colombian water and not US water? What brands of, I use the same soap. I use Dove everywhere. I use the same soap and the same face stuff. So I've looked that up, in the past. Nail polish, right? I just took off my nail polish. What nail, right? Is this nail polish brand owned by one of these evil corporations that I hate, right? So that's what I do. That'll be hard giving money to Nestle. I support them in my country as the government has made it mandatory for them to invest in backward integration, which improves yield. Okay. In your country, maybe Nestle is not doing what it's doing in other places. So there are a handful of corporations kind of like ruin things around the world. And Nestle ruined, and I don't give my money to Nestle. They don't get it. They don't get it. They don't get my money. Okay. Yeah. So Nescafe. So I'm an instant coffee girl. I love coffee, but I don't love to make coffee. And so I'm an instant coffee girl. And so Nescafe, I had to part ways with Nescafe. That was sad. I was like, this is sad because this was decent instant coffee that you can find anywhere in the world. I don't care how small that little shop is that you walk into. I stayed in a little place in the Philippines, a little island, had a small town where their homes were up on stilts because it was an island with a lot of water and whatever. And one house was the house that I stayed in. She had some rooms for rent, right? I had rented a little bed in a room, nothing else in the room but a bed. And 2 doors down, I think, not many doors down, there was a little lady whose front of her house was a little shop. And on her shop, you could buy toiletries. You go down a couple more doors and you can buy a little bit of food stuff. I bought Nestle instant coffee on that little tiny island in the Philippines from a house on stilts. You can find Nescafe anywhere, right? But I don't mess with Nestle anymore. So here in Colombia, luckily, some of the good coffee brands also have an instant coffee line. So I've been doing fine with instant coffee because the first place I stayed in Bogota, let's see, one of the recent places didn't have an actual coffee maker. And I kind of don't mind instant coffee. I don't mind instant coffee. Yeah, brown girls invest too, Heidi. There are 10 or 11 companies that own most other brands. You got to do your Google. So just because it says whatever doesn't mean it's not Nestle. You got to look it up. You got to look it up. How do you avoid Google? I don't know, because we didn't even finish the Facebook conversation. So even though I'm getting off of the Facebook platform, I don't think I'll be able to get off of WhatsApp. As a woman who lives in Colombia, I don't think I'll be able to get off WhatsApp. Every single rental apartment that I've seen that has a sign in the door, you communicate with them on WhatsApp. Even if I text them, because I have a text plan here. Even if I have a phone plan, dual SIM. Even if I text them, they WhatsApp me. Everything is done on WhatsApp. I've ordered flowers for women in various countries, WhatsApp, right? Everything. When Exodus Summit hosted our meetups, when we hosted that Cancun meetup with 100 women, and we hosted our Marrakesh and Cape Town, South Africa meetups, every vendor that we communicated with, WhatsApp. So Facebook, getting off of Facebook is going to be easier than getting off of Meta as a whole. right? So same with Google. I don't have any plans to get off Google. YouTube is a Google platform. I have no plans. This is not me saying I'm getting off Google. I have no plans. But how do you avoid them? It's hard. Just like avoiding Amazon, I realized Amazon and Audible was going to be a thing. And Audible is a thing I was going to need to address. I've just been putting it off. But I didn't realize how many movies I watched on Amazon Prime, right? Even though it's still called Amazon. It didn't occur to me that, you know what, Stephanie, you need to think about this. How do you get off of these platforms? They don't make it easy. Girl, ain't no conflict of interest in the United States. Businesses can do what they want. And any regulations that did exist won't exist much longer. Yeah, Nestle does not get my money. The whole Kit Kat situation was really upsetting. Is it Mars? In the United States, Kit Kat is Mars, and in other places it's Nestle? Or is it backwards? Is that the reverse? Or is it Reese's? Let me see. Who owns Reese's? Let me see. It's one of them. I just had this problem. Reese's is Hershey in the United States, but is it Nestle abroad? One of them is, I knew not to buy. I think I knew Kit Kat was Nestle. I think it's Reese's in the United States is not Nestle, but Reese's out of the United States is Nestle. Because I looked at the label, right? After I bought it, I looked at the label. Now I don't remember it. I need to remember that for next time I need a candy bar, right? I'm not saying it's easy to avoid these things. Yeah, Nestle owns different water. So that's why here in Colombia, I had to find the Colombian-owned water and make sure I'm not buying water from Nestle. So there's Crystal and something that you find anywhere. Brisa, Crystal and Brisa are everywhere, and they both were safe, right? Yeah. No, Coca-Cola owns Brisa, and Crystal is its own thing. So I don't, I'm not, it's not like I love Coca-Cola, but I'm not on a Coca-Cola boycott. So that's what I did to make sure that I wasn't buying Nestle water, because they'll trick you, right? You get there and you'll be like, of course, this water is a company that is a Colombian-owned company. Why would an international company sell their water from a different brand? Of course the water is Colombian. No, you have to Google it. You got to Google it. Why am I drawn to Spanish countries most recently? I need to be, no, not need to. I have chosen to stay in places that I can get back to the United States with a short single flight. So that means mostly the Americas. It could also mean the very western part of Europe, but the UK is not an appealing place for me to live. I really like London as a city, but not as a place to live. The cost of living for the UK is too much. And Spain and Portugal are also places where I could fly to easily. But that's why, right? Most places around the world, just like most corporations are owned by 10 or 11 major corporations, most brands are owned by 10 or 11 major corporations. Most countries in the world speak 4 languages. It's English, it's Spanish, it's Portuguese, right? The colonizer has a lot of say on what language people speak around the world. So it's more about location than Spanish-speaking countries. I feel like I could learn any language that has an alphabet that I currently recognize, right? Any language that uses what are we using? The Roman alphabet? Any language that uses an alphabet whose characters I can currently recognize, I feel like I can learn that language. But that happens to mean French, Spanish, English, Portuguese, German. I feel like I could learn German. I know it would suck and it would be really hard, but I could do it if I needed to. Swahili, right? But it's less about the Bahasa Indonesia, Bahasa Malaysia. I know I could learn those languages. In the Philippines, I was about to say, in the Philippines, there's a lot of English. So, but there are places in the world where I know I could learn the language. To me, it's important to move to a place where I can learn the language. I think that learning a language when you move to a country is the thing that tells people, I come in peace. Like, seriously, I am not here to rip y'all off, to colonize y'all. And I think that's an important thing to state in a world that has been ripped off and colonized. So it's more about, can I learn the language? And is this a place that I can get back to my parents on the East Coast in a reasonable amount of time? Also, so I have a full list. Also, weather. I don't want to be piping hot, but I don't want to wear a coat. I have elected to live a coat-free life, right? So all of those things mean, for me, this cluster of the world is much more accessible. Also, the cost of living, right? This means this cluster of the world is much more accessible to me. So having spent 2 years in Mexico and 3 years, I think, in Costa Rica, and now Colombia, is a result of me having a solid list, knowing what I want for my life, what I want for my day, right? And then finding places that match that. If you're looking for that for yourself, I would take our Which Country Should I Move To quiz. The quiz is going to give you some cities to consider in the world. The Which Country Should I Move To quiz is at exodussummit.com/quiz, and it'll help you figure out what your questions are. It's good at pointing you someplace, but a lot of people get pointed to some of the same places. But it's even better, the Which Country Should I Move To quiz is even better at helping you narrow down which questions you should be asking about your future place. What are your priorities, right? So it's good. I love Pancit. The Philippines was good to me. I can't imagine living there. Now, I was in the Philippines in 2015, late 2015, and the internet was terrible and the coffee was terrible, okay? But the people in the Philippines were wonderful. And if you could find the food in the restaurant, it was good. The Philippines was a place where they might have a menu, but the food they have in the restaurant is not necessarily going to correlate to the food that's on the menu. That is a thing that Americans, I think, would struggle with in the Philippines. I don't understand what's going on here. I've been wearing my headscarf. Sometimes when I don't wear my headscarf at night, I break out. But I've been wearing my bonnet. And I've been sweating. I've been working out a little bit. Don't get excited. A little bit of working out. To sweat. My pores open. So I don't know why I'm breaking out. It's upsetting. That's a big old zit. And I'm in menopause. I shouldn't be having these problems. Can I please live my dream life, which includes coat-free living? I live a coat-free life. I had to wear a coat when I was home in Delaware in March and April. It sucked. I had to buy it. I had to buy a coat. I had to buy a coat because I didn't have a coat that fit me. It sucked. It is a cute coat. It was cute. Little Coldwater Creek. It's kind of a jacket. The difference between a jacket and a coat to me is the lining and the protection. So even though it was jacket shaped, it gave me the protection of a coat. So I'm going to call it a coat. And I didn't like that. Yeah, I will say there are a lot of places where surprisingly, you don't need to know a whole lot in that language to go there and get started, but you need to make an effort to learn their language if you're going to live there. It's surprising. It's easier to learn it there. I've been on Duolingo. Listen, I had such a long Duolingo streak. I didn't learn one thing on Duolingo. So I quit. I had the little icon on my phone and they changed it to a little broken owl. They shattered the owl like it was a little shattered glass because I quit when I quit going to Duolingo. But you should make the commitment to learn it when you get there, right? Whether it's a private tutor or online classes or in-person classes or just making friends and y'all spend some time speaking Spanish, right? Or speaking that language. It's important in a world where people and places have been colonized. It's important to not operate like a colonizer. And one of the ways that we do that is that we learn their language and we speak their language. When I went to see that apartment yesterday, I have been communicating with him in WhatsApp in Spanish. And when I got there yesterday, as soon as I looked at him, I was like, he speaks English, right? So we exchanged pleasantries in Spanish. Mucho gusto is one of my favorite things to say. But when I say mucho gusto to people, they assume I am a native Spanish speaker. And then they just take off. So I'd be like, so I was yesterday, mucho gusto. And then he's like, come in, please. And then I just switched to English because I'm like, he knows English. He was probably my age or older, 50, maybe 50, my age or around my age. And I was like, he's going to speak fluent English. So I asked him one question in English. And then from then on, we did the conversation in English, right? I think he would have been less glad to see me and less glad to show the place to me if I had been texting him in Spanish. And if when I got there, if I had been texting him in English, and when I got there, I greeted him in English, right? I'll do a little Spanglish. I'll mix it up, right? So when he was talking about something and I was like, something in La Terraza, right? Talking about the terrace on the house, right? And then I was like, the bathroom toilets are ancient. One of them is burgundy and one of the bathroom toilets must have been blue or green. So I asked him if they had any plans to replace the toilets in los baños, right? I'm going to Spanglish you up. I feel like at least making some effort gives me more grace in a place. And I do intend to learn better. I do intend to learn the language. But I think had I done everything in English and all of that, it would have been a problem. But I'm not eating the sweets. I've been such a good girl this week. I was talking about Kit Kats and Reese's, but I've had popcorn. I've been eating popcorn this week at the end of the day. I don't have digestion issues. Normally if skin breakouts for me are hormonal. And now that I'm in the menopause, I was expecting not to get hormonal breakouts anymore. Oh, I'm going to touch it. I'm going to touch it. I'm going to squeeze it. I'm going to poke it. I'm going to mess with it. I'm the worst. I'm the worst. I do all the things. I wash the scar. That's why I have good skin. You see, I have good skin, which is why the breakout is so upsetting. I have good skin. I do all the good skin things. Oh, I'm going to touch it. I do all the things. Yeah, listen, don't get excited. Okay. Where is the kimono these days? I believe Katrina has it back, but I don't know where Katrina is. Katrina, are you in Malaysia? Is she here? We should talk about menopause one day. I did have Dr. Stephanie Young Moss, Dr. Stephanie Yomo on Instagram come and talk about perimenopause. So we can talk about menopause. We can do that. We can bring somebody on. I did have Dr. Stephanie Yomo by now it's probably a year ago. It doesn't seem that long ago, but it might have been a year ago. And we talked about perimenopause here. I think it's beyond rude. It's a signal. To me, rude is just, I'm thoughtless. I haven't thought about y'all. But to me, not learning the language when you live in a place is beyond rude. It's a signal. The colonizer was right. Even though the language that you're learning is probably the colonizer's language. In Colombia, the Colombians didn't speak Spanish until the colonizers came from Spain, okay? So I'm aware that what the language that we're learning is the colonizer's language, but there is a second or third wave of colonization that could happen that we want to make sure that we're just saying, I'm not that. I think it's very important. I think it's very important to learn the language. Yeah. Can you imagine, right? How does it feel in your neighborhood when white people move into your neighborhood and try to replicate wherever they came from instead of embracing your neighborhood? It's the same thing. I think it's very important. Yeah, Tammy says immersion learning is best. You have to speak to people. This is how I'm learning Portuguese. Okay, good. Yeah, I don't have any problem feeling dumb. I don't have a problem sounding dumb to people. I think that there are people who won't practice their Spanish out loud because they don't want to look dumb. I don't know Spanish. I want to learn Spanish. I need to practice Spanish. I need to speak a Spanish, right? When I go pick up my food deliveries and stuff, I'll be like, Stephanie? Because even though they can see my name says Stephanie on the thing, they're gonna be like, Stephanie? I'll be like, see, Stephanie. I don't have a problem looking dumb or sounding dumb. I don't have a problem with it, right? Just like I know that there are some things that we give too much value or too much space in our lives. So just like there are people who think that the amount of money you have or make is an indication of the kind of person you are, there are people who think that the type of intelligence that you can show is an indication of the kind of person you are. There's some intelligences that I don't have, right? And there are some things that I don't have. It's not an indication of who I am as a person because I don't value those things. When I sat down and wrote my list of values, looking smart was nowhere on them. And so making looking smart a priority in my life is living outside of my values. And I don't want to do that. I want to live aligned. Being in community with people is one of my values. I value community. I also value progress. I value seeing progress in things. It's why running is a hobby that I miss because I miss seeing, like yesterday I went out and I covered 3 miles and I ran for 0.5 miles. Then the next day I ran for 0.75 miles. And then the next week, right? I like seeing progress, which is why running is a good hobby for me, even if it's hard to get back to. It's been very, very hard to get back to. As an older, fatter, bigger, and older person. There are types of intelligence that people have. There are people who have a language learning intelligence, and they're going to learn a language easier and faster. I don't know that I have that. I do have a particular word intelligence. I'm a writer, right? And I'm a good writer. I've always been a good writer, even though I've always had to work on it and improve it. I've always been a good writer. But there are certain types of intelligence I don't have. I don't understand. So when I took the Army ASVAB, they were like, this is the highest score in whatever. I tested really high on the Army ASVAB, even though a portion of the ASVAB was like levers and pulleys and mechanical stuff. I don't know. Part of that test was, if look at this gear and these gears and these levers, if we turn the lever clockwise, which direction is this thing going to go? I don't know. I can't figure that out. I don't have that kind of intelligence. I'm perfectly okay with that, right? I don't need to see myself as an intelligent, overall, generally intelligent person to see myself as a good person. To me, I value being a good person more than I value looking intelligent. I know a lot of Black women who value looking intelligent or live their lives as though they value looking smart over the things that they actually value. If you value community, sometimes you need to look dumb and helpless and be dumb and helpless and let people help you. I know that. I see a lot of Black women who have a history of being called gifted, who cannot let go of that and just be a person in the world. And that leads you to never trying things that are hard and that you suck at in the beginning, or maybe you suck at for as long as you do them. I've been crocheting the same crochet stitch for a long time. I'm not getting any better at crocheting a straight line. I'm not getting any better at it. Crocheting for me, I think it's, I'm always going to suck at it. But I hope I always do it and I always enjoy it. Or I do it until I don't enjoy it anymore. Right? So having to be seen as intelligent is probably antithetical to your actual values, the things you actually value in your life. And so let it go, put it down. I don't mind people thinking I'm a dum-dum. In some things, I am a dum-dum. In some things, I'm very smart. I have some types of intelligence that other people don't have. I have some types of intelligence that people don't even recognize, right? People don't even know that's a form of intelligence. I got it. And I have other forms of there are other forms of intelligence that other people have that I don't have. I'm deferring to you on this matter, right? I think that not going to a place and not trying the language, not trying even to get the words out of your mouth. I'm going to say this. I love my mom. I love you, Mom. My mom, even though she knew how to say good morning and thank you in Mexico, she wouldn't say it. I think some of that is Black women have not been given grace to not be good at things. She's a smart woman, an educated woman, and I think it was just hard for her to not be seen as smart. So instead of saying gracias, she would say thank you. In the beginning, it took a while. It took a while to let that go. It took a while for that, right? But I see it over and over again. Hey, Winsome. Winsome is Big Up Yourself, celebrating the original you on her YouTube channel. She brings on people to big up themselves, celebrate something in their lives. And it doesn't have to be anything that other people would think is worthy of celebration. Her channel is Big Up Yourself. There are different, some people need to seem intelligent and they know they're not intelligent and whatever, right? That's Trump, that's Elon Musk, right? But there is a Black woman thing that says you're already intelligent and you cannot show any cracks. There are intelligent Black women who are just really afraid to seem not smart in something. And so that's why they don't try. I think this really makes sense when we talk about language learning, about why people just won't go out and try it. I think it's that, right? Let yourself look like a dum-dum sometimes. Be a dum-dum sometimes. It's nice over here. I happen to be a person who likes to do as little as possible. And for me, part of doing as little as possible is not holding up certain facades. Everybody holds up facades sometimes. Everybody wears masks sometimes. Okay? I'm not a perfect person. But there are certain masks I'm not interested in holding up because that's work. It's stressful. It's hard. It's labor. Okay? So there are certain facades that, I hope we can let go of. Let yourself be a dum-dum sometimes. This week, I got an email that I was 90% sure was a phishing scam. I still clicked on the link. Listen, sometimes I'm just a dum-dum. And then I go to YouTube, and there's a YouTuber named Austin Connolly, I think, Austin something. And he makes YouTube videos that are, really funny and thoughtful and whatever. And he made a video about that particular scam because it's been going around. And he was like, I'm a dummy. And I've set up systems in my life so that I don't fall victim to dummy things. So he has this actual physical key, and you can't access his YouTube account. He has over 1 million subscribers, maybe 2 million subscribers. You can't access his YouTube account unless you have a physical key to put into the computer. I've never heard of that. And I was like, from one dummy to another. Thank you. Because I sure did. I clicked on the link. It just happened that YouTube had caught the phishing scam beforehand and had taken the video down. So I got an email that said it was from YouTube. And it was like, here's this link to this video. So I was like, this doesn't look right. But let me see. A thing that I like to do is let me see what they're asking for. Let me see what is the actual scam. There's a little relief in having an iPhone because iPhones just don't fall victim to malware in the same way that other products do. So I'm like, well, I'm on my iPhone. Let me see what the scam is. Let me see what they're asking me for. But thankfully, YouTube saved me and it didn't, the link was gone anyway. But he's a male. He got 2 million subscribers or something like that. He's a filmmaker, but he also makes YouTube videos about just stuff. And he's like, as a dummy, I have to set up systems to remind myself not to do dumb things. I'm like, okay, protections. Also this, Empress Wanderlust playing dumb has gotten me lots of resources. Also that. Sometimes you might want to play dumb. It helps me, for me, playing dumb sometimes helps other people to do the thing that they want me to do. Men do it, right? Play dumb. I don't know what that is, and I don't know what that means, and I don't know how to do that. Somebody else will do it. It's a nice part of having a good, as a do as little as possible person, right? It's been really helpful to not have to carry the weight of masks and facades all the time. Okay. Hi, Janae. As the shame we carry for not being good, smart in a matter keeps us from telling or sharing. And it keeps you from learning. If you feel shame about not being good at something or not being smart at something, you've put up a wall of shame that will keep you from actually improving if you wanted to improve, right? If you want to improve, running humbles you, okay? Running humbles you. And if you feel bad about being bad at running, you're never going to get better at running. If you feel shame and letting people see you start from zero, or I'm starting from less than zero, I would say, I'm starting from the negative end of the scale. If I felt shame about that, I would never be better. I've been called shameless in my life. There's a shame chip in me that's missing. The shame, I'm missing the shame chip. Okay. Yeah, Manny's moving on from Duolingo too. Yeah, I'm like, all this time, I haven't learned one new vocabulary word. Wasting my time. Let me find somebody else. Yeah, I think I've gone from Spanish, the Spanish of a 2-year-old to Spanish of a 3-year-old, and I'm okay with that. I didn't feel like I could ask the right questions to the landlord in my 3-year-old Spanish, which is why I switched to English. But then every now and then, to make him know that I'm a nice person, I throw in a little Espanol, la cocina. I don't know how to say stove and oven. So I asked him about the stove, and he plans to replace the stove and oven in la cocina. We're standing in the kitchen, right? When I said I didn't need to say la cocina, right? There's the stove and oven are only in la cocina. I don't need to say la cocina. But I'm going to throw in a little Spanglish, right? I want you to know that I'm a work in progress. I'm learning. I'm 3 years old in Spanish. Right? I'm a toddler. Help me. Yeah, so this is important. High vibe. Americans deem people who speak broken English as less intelligent. It's a strange thing. A person who doesn't speak the best English, it's because English is not their first language. It's their second language, their third language, their 18th language, right? They don't speak the best English because English is not their first language, but we treat them as dumb when they know multiple languages. And most of us know one language. Who's the dummy? This is the thing about unlearning American stuff. This is the thing about leaving the country and seeing what is the real story? Remember how Paul Harvey, and now you know the rest of the story. You don't know the rest of the story yet unless you've spent a significant time out of the United States, you have a very limited point of view about a lot of things, a very limited point of view. You may be a person who, when you hear someone speaking in a heavy accent and their words aren't really right, you may think that they're not smart. That is a mistake, because this means this is a person who has learned a second or a third or a fourth language. An accent means they speak other languages. Who's not smart? Who's the dummy? Leaving the United States will put some things in perspective for you, including what am I valuing? What am I placing value on that makes me the dummy? Right? What makes me the dummy? Yeah. Clase, Spanish for all. Hola, clase. It's the thing I miss about having Spanish class. I took Spanish in high school and maybe a year or two in college. Hola, clase. Nobody says that to me anymore, but I heard that for years of my life. She's hola, clase, Spanish for all. Clase, Spanish for all says, I've had students who ace tests but won't speak the language except in one-on-one, especially Black girls hold back their talent. Yeah, I think there's a lot of Black women who have not been given grace to make mistakes and mess up and try and fail and try again. I happen to have been given grace in my life to make mistakes and mess up and try again. And so I make mistakes and mess up and try again. It's why I've been able to make progress in things. Even if I shoot myself in the foot after I've made the progress. I'm not a perfect person. But progress is a thing that I value over perfection. I think some of that is I've been given a lot of grace. And a lot of Black women, a lot of Black girls have not been given that grace to look dumb, to mess it up, to try it, see what happens. I see that, right? Meanwhile, I'll be like, let me break out my Spanglish. And then a thing that I do, I was just at a beach in Mexico in Hobosh with Adelia and Rashida. And anytime I would say one little thing in Spanish to the waitress at the restaurant or whatever, I'd be like, Espanol. And then she'd be like, oh, muy bien, muy bien. Solicit compliments, mess up, solicit compliments, try it again, right? I'd be like, oh, buenos dias, café con leche, por favor. I'd be the cappuccino. I like cappuccino. Cappuccino, por favor, con leche entera, right? I would order my cappuccino with whole milk or milk. And then I'd be like, Espanol. And they'd be like, oh, muy bien, muy bien. Yes, look like a dum-dum. Look like a dummy. I promise you. It's better than having to look perfect. When I went to, I'm gonna mention this. I probably mentioned this in every video since, but I went to that conference in Las Vegas for corporate women. And the amount of physical perfection in that room. This is a conference in a casino in Las Vegas. They were in pressed Black suits, heels, not just pumps, but high stiletto heels, makeup looking like you just got, there's a bot here. Tell me the name and I'll try to fix it. Remove whoever it is. Makeup looking like a professional did the makeup. Hair laid. The hair was laid in that room. Perfection. Some people would have been like, yes, Black excellence. Instead, I was like, I feel sorry for these women because this is a person who has not been given grace to be human. She's had to show up as perfect. At a conference in a casino, we're in a casino. Why are you wearing a Black suit and stiletto heels with makeup? I mean, this makeup took you an hour. To sit in a conference room in a casino? No grace. There's no grace for Black women. And so you living your life as if there's no grace is only going to perpetuate that. I think we have to start giving ourselves that grace that we want from other people. Thank you, Tori. We have to give ourselves that grace that we would want from other people. We have to give ourselves the grace we give to other people. Some of you, sometimes, maybe some of you don't receive grace because you don't give it. But most Black women give so much grace to other people, but none for ourselves. Rich Auntie, I used to be that girl, had to be perfect. I'm free now. Be free, set yourself free. That's not liberation. That's absolutely bondage. Having to be perfect, that is bondage. Once you recognize that that's how you're living your life, if you perpetuate it, if you perpetuate it, if you keep that going, if you keep it going, you've elected to hold yourself in bondage when you could be free. Okay, thank you. Erica, the capsule wardrobe will help with downsizing the amount of clothes. It's quality over quantity. I think downsizing, decluttering, getting rid of things, I think is another way to help set ourselves free. If you've been a person who has, like me, used retail therapy to feel better, or who has attained things as a way of like achieving some status markers or some outward appearance of looking like you've got it together, right? Letting go of that stuff is also a way to set you free. Capsule wardrobe to me, so as a person who has lived out of suitcases since 2015, I don't connect to the term capsule wardrobe. You know how I like to make up other words for things. So I would like us to think about our stuff in a different way. But capsule wardrobe, I don't know. For some reason, it doesn't resonate with me. But less stuff. Repeat your stuff. Wear your stuff over and over. Not only have I lived out of suitcases since 2015, but I've been on YouTube since 2019. Y'all have seen me in the same clothes over and over and over and over and over and over again. And nobody ever mentions it. Nobody seems to care. If you're feeling some type of way about always having to step out in something new, I hope I can help you no longer feel that way. I've gone to meetups in the same 4 outfits. I have probably 4 or 5 outfits and I'm like, oh, I look cute. Let me go to the meetup in this, right? Set yourself free from having to have a lot of things. Some of that is also the idea of having to appear in a type of way. Sometimes that type of way is having to appear like you have so much. Looking like abundance is not an outward appearance. I mean, I guess abundance does manifest itself in outward ways, but living a life of abundance is not the same as having an abundant amount of clothes. Because I live out of suitcases. I don't have an abundant amount of clothes. I just told you I have 4 outfits that I think I look cute enough to wear to a meetup. Okay. But I'm living a life of abundance and overflow. They're 2 different things. Rashni, maybe some of you don't receive grace because you don't give it. Yeah, sometimes, right? For some people, for most Black women, that's not the case. But for some Black women, right? Maybe the reason that people judge you so harshly is that you judge other people so harshly. Maybe the reason people don't give you grace is that you don't give other people grace, right? If you're towing the Black excellence line, how could you give people grace? If you believe in Black excellence today, if you believe that the way Black women should be presenting themselves is so as to appear acceptable to other people, then you're not giving Black women grace. And maybe that's why you're not receiving it, right? If you're on my channel talking about, well, you should get healthy, you should lose weight so you could be healthy, even though I'm in good health, right? You're not giving me the grace. Maybe that's why you're not getting the grace, right? Anytime, that's why even though I want to be honest and open and talk about things, I'm so tired of people telling me because I'm fat, I'm not healthy. I'm not the one on blood pressure medication. I don't take high blood pressure medication. My cholesterol's fine. I'm fat. Period. Leave me alone. Even if you did have some concerns, worry about yourself. Give me grace. Then it maybe people would give you grace. Coach Donna. Hi, Donna. Giving grace. Hi, how are you, Donna? I haven't seen you in a while. Giving grace to myself as I do for others has changed the trajectory of my life. Perfectly free. This is the thing. This is what most Black women have to contend with. There are some who are not getting grace because they're not giving it. But most Black women I know are giving grace, but not to themselves. And that's the difference. Let me see. What is the thing that happened to me about this? I remember, it was with self-talk. For me, it was with self-talk. I one day just started paying attention to my self-talk, to the words that I was saying to myself. And I was like, I would never say those words to other people. I would never, ever say those words, not to a stranger, not to a friend, not to an enemy. I would never talk to another person the way I talk to myself. And so I worked on self-talk and worked on giving myself that same grace. That's how I end this video often. I end these live streams often, thanking you for giving me grace and reminding you to give yourself that same grace. In a lot of my videos, I start late. I spill water on myself. I have to get up to do XYZ. The housekeeper's knocking on the door, right? And nobody, I don't think, leaves and says, either you're perfect or I don't stick around. That almost never happens. Maybe people don't agree with me, right? Maybe you don't agree with me, and that's why you don't leave. But it's almost never because I'm not perfect. I get a lot of grace, but if you're not giving yourself that grace, mistake. That's what most Black women, I think, that's the approach most Black women have or have had, that I hope won't be a forever thing. Yeah, don't take life too seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. Zane says, in self-compassion class, we had to write a letter to a friend that had a hard time. Then we had to analyze if we spoke to ourselves in that same way. If there were discrepancies, we were asked why. Can I point you guys to, so my self-talk, the journey of talking to myself nicely is years long. But one of the more recent helpers in my life has been Tony Jones. Tony Jones was a guest on this channel not too long ago. She makes affirmation music. And so thank you. It's music it's affirmation music. Is exactly what it sounds like. I'm going to link to one of her songs called Talk to Me Nice, which is about talking nice to yourself. You can use affirmations and music and stuff to start learning how to give yourself grace. Okay. Oh, Feminine by Design. I wrote a book on giving yourself grace. It's for young people. Can you tell us the title of the book? You can't link to it in the YouTube chat. YouTube won't let you link to it. But if you can tell us the title, we would appreciate that. Empress Wanderlust says, in her exclusive neighborhood, you can tell Black women who aren't residents because they overdress. There's no grace for Black women. And that shows up by us always having to look perfect. It's bigger than just the dressing, right? That conference, sitting in that conference and seeing all those Black suits, all those presses or relaxers or whatever, or weaves, and all that perfect makeup, all that perfect nails. I don't mind some chip. I don't mind chip nail polish. I just removed that nail polish today, right? That perfection It's a result of Black women not being able to be anything but perfect. That is my beef with Black excellence. We can free ourselves from that, though. That made me sad, right? It made me sad to see that. We're in a casino. I understand it was a conference for like corporate women, and some of their jobs, most of them, their jobs paid for them to attend the conference. But like, girl, you don't have a level 6. You always have to be on 10. You can't you can't show up as a 6. What's happening? Capsules are capturing marketing. What do you mean, Petria? Tell me what you mean. That's right, Melanie. All that makeup and style can be the costume and mask to pretend that what's happening isn't happening. That's right. Because let me tell you what the main topic of conversation was at that conference. We can't let these white people run us out of here. It was talking about the end of DEI in corporations and how we now can be so good they can't deny us. That was a running phrase that weekend or that week. Be so good they can't deny you. I hate that for Black women. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Let them run you up out. Go somewhere else. Live better. Right? A lot of those women worked for JP Morgan, and there were like 4 or 5 corporations that were sponsors that also sent Black women to the conference. I'm like, girl, you work for JP Morgan. You know how to retire early. You got the money to retire early. Instead of coming to conferences and learning how to be so good they can't deny you. And then another session that I went to was on how to be allies for other Black women at work, right? Instead of having to do all that, quit. Leave them. You have to show up perfect. You have to be 1,000. Now we're past twice as good, right? You got to be 5,000 times as good for them to still treat you like shit. And then go to a conference where y'all work on your strategies to be treated like shit. Quit. Made me so sad. When I go to conferences normally, somebody at the table, I'll sit at a table with people. Somebody at the table will be like, and Stephanie, what do you do? And I'll be like, I help Black women take career breaks and leave the country. And they'll be like, oh, tell me more about that. At this conference, they didn't want to hear that shit. 2 women walked up to me and said, I know you. I know your YouTube channel. What are you doing here? The first one was like, what are you doing here? This is not your thing. But this was a group of women, a group of Black women who had their heels dug in, who decided that being so good they can't deny you was the hill that they were willing to die on. And I hate that for them. Yay me couture crochet, girl. She out here with flats and no makeup. On the Black Lady sketch show, they had a sketch, and the woman was like, oh, I can tell she's fine with being just an okay bitch. I can tell by her wedges. And I'll be like, where the okay bitches at? We don't have to be bad bitches. Where the okay bitches at? I could tell she was fine with being just an okay bitch. I could tell by her wedges. So capsule wardrobes, I think, listen, being 50 and 11/12, the memory. I just said Kat's name, and right now I was like struggling to get Kat's name back into my mind. Kat, Rebloom Room. I just call it my favorite clothes. If it didn't fit that category, it didn't come with me. Yeah. So capsule wardrobe, for some reason, I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way. I think maybe it's just because white people take things and label them and then act like they invented it. And that annoys me. But anyway, the idea of getting rid of things that don't serve you in your current life or your future life anymore can be really scary, right? Getting rid of your stuff can be really scary. In June, inside of the Exodus ASAP membership, we're working on decluttering, right? We're working on paring down. We're working on how do you know what to take with you? And then how do you take time to get rid of the stuff you know you need to get rid of? And what are some other alternatives for some of your things? So inside of Exodus ASAP, June is decluttering month. We're going to be doing a decluttering challenge. We're going to be doing some decluttering live together. Your stuff, if you've been a person who has gone from retail therapy is my thing to, oh, this boycott feels really nice, right? This boycott feels really good. It feels really nice to not go out and buy a bunch of stuff I don't need, right? Maybe the next step for you is decluttering. The next step for you might be, what other things in here can go? We talked the other week about how some dominoes started falling for Black women. The domino of the natural hair movement set off a set of dominoes, I'm convinced, right? The natural hair movement set off a set of helped us liberate ourselves, set off some liberation practices. Hair was a liberation practice, right? Embracing and loving and wearing our hair, our natural hair, right? What set off, it was a liberation, was and is a liberation practice. And it set off some others. We're in a phase right now. We moved into money and liberation through money, right? How do I get to the point of financial independence? If I now recognize that there's no end game, right? Capitalism doesn't end, and work doesn't end unless I say it ends. How do I come up with an end number? Like a literal end number. I've made enough money to live out the rest of my life. How do I earn to get to that end number? And then how do I actually walk away? How do I cash out? Right? Kirsten Saunders and Julian Saunders' book is called Cashing Out. How do I actually cash out? That movement, still in progress, but very powerful. I think that we're also in the midst of a relationship movement. Like, I don't know, there's no word for this yet, but a movement that among Black women that says, I don't need to maintain this relationship that means me harm. There's a movement. It might be family, maternal and paternal relationships, or marriages, I think the child-free movement is a part of this movement where Black women are looking at relationships and liberating themselves from, not liberating ourselves from relationships, but liberating ourselves from harmful relationships, at least. I got to think on that some more. Think on what it is. But there is a movement where relationships that were automatic and default in Black women's lives since we've existed, no longer tie us, bind us. We choose. We choose what relationships we keep and don't keep. I think that's a movement that we're living out today. Hair, money, relationships. I'm glad to see that. I think there's liberation in examining these things, and I think examining these things will continue to help us examine the next and the next and the next. So I'm behind in the chat. Amina, be on 5011 medication telling me I'm fat. I'm over it. Part of me is my dad is a rebel. I've taken a lot of personality tests. I test as a rebel. And every time somebody says to me, I need to lose some weight, all I want to do is go buy a box of brownies and a couple pizzas, a milkshake, and put on some weight. One time at work, One time, so after I quit my job in 2015, I traveled for a year on savings. I needed to go back to work for 3 months. I went back to work for literally for 3 months, for 90 days, to make some more money so I could go to South Africa. At work, I went to lunch and came back with some food. And the pharmacist, I had been at this, like this was a 90-day job, and I had been at this job for a couple weeks, right? And I was probably size 16 or 18, right? Which for me is baseline, right? That's normal. And he said something about me being on a diet, me going to lunch and being on a diet. And I was like, oh, I'm not on a diet. I was like, matter of fact, I plan to put on another 30, 40 pounds. I was like, being fat is so much fun. People don't know. Now, I did put on another 30, 40 pounds. And that's when I learned to watch what you say, because your words have power. But being fat is so much fun. Being fat feels physically, fat feels better than thin. And here's the thing. People like fat people in general better until it's time to talk. This is another thing I need to think out. You like fat people better. You like hugging fat people. You love fat people until it's time to treat us like humans, I guess. I need to think on this. Nobody's hugging up on and rubbing on skinny people. You love hugging up and rubbing on fat people. Men love fat women. They love the feel of fat women. And laying in a bed as a fat woman is better than laying in the bed as a skinny woman. I've only been 162 is my lowest as an adult. I'm 5'9". But at 162, my knees, when I laid on my side, my knee bones banged against each other and hurt. And when I laid on my stomach, my hip bones poked me. Fat feels better. Okay? Let me see what y'all are saying. Fat feels good. And people like fat people until it's time to treat us like humans. Then all of a sudden, you think you have the right to tell me that I'm not healthy because I'm fat. When you're on, you take 4 prescription medications. I was a hospital pharmacy technician for 5 + 4, 9 years of my life. I've seen healthy and unhealthy. Okay? I've put literal paper grocery bags of medications to give to one individual person for 90 days. Right? Peace of mind. So the fat and unhealthy argument are 2 different things. You could be fat and healthy. Aside from menopause memory problems, I'm healthy. You can be not fat and unhealthy. But for some reason, people really, really want to tell fat people really, really, really want to tell fat women what our problem is. Well, skinny women, let me tell you your problem. Nobody wants to hug you. One time I went to happy hour years ago, walked into happy hour, and I see this woman walk in. And not only is everyone at the bar, all the staff, it was like a happy hour restaurant that everybody went, all the Black people went to in Wilmington. And everybody, I've been to this place before, but I'd never seen her before. But not only did people go out of their way to say hi to her and greet her, but they also hugged and rubbed up on that woman, right? And I saw it. And then my boyfriend, the dude I was dating, he came in and I pointed at it and I was like, watch this. And he was like, why is everybody rubbing on her? I said, I don't know, but I'm about to go rub up on her myself. And then his coworker came in and we pointed out to him, and literally every person who said hi to her was just rubbing up on her. Now, she was probably a size 20. She was probably 5'8", size 20. She was a big girl. I mean, the way everybody rubbed up on her. Meanwhile, I had just run that half marathon. I was in the 160s, right? Wasn't nobody rubbing up on me. rubbing up on me. Another dude. The first time he even hugged me, he was like, "Oh," and I was like, "It's been a while since he's hugged a big girl." And then I met his mom, and she was a big girl, and I was like, "Oh, he missed that. He missed that. He missed what that feels like." How did we get here? All I want to tell you is stop telling me to get healthy. All you're making me do is want to stay fat. I really enjoy being fat. You can eat chicken wings whenever you feel like it, onion rings, French fries, right? And you don't have to worry about not fitting in your clothes because you've got onion ring size clothes. Stop telling me over and over again how I need to lose weight so I can be healthy. I'm healthy. I'm going to outlive you. We've already decided I'm going to outlive you. I've got great genes. Leave me alone. Let me be fat. Thank you. Leave me alone. Let me be fat in peace. I guess I had one too many comments this week. I don't read my comments all that much, but I did go watch the replay from last week's video. Let me be fat in peace. I'm healthy, I have good genes, and I'm going to outlive you. Thank you. Thank you. I don't have to worry about, if I eat this cheeseburger and these onion rings, my pants won't zip. My pants are already onion ring and cheeseburger size. Matter of fact, I don't even wear jeans. I don't wear jeans. You have never seen me a lot of you have never seen me, period. I don't wear jeans because they are not fat girl friendly. You can't zip your pants. I wear skirts and dresses, and I wear pants with a drawstring. I like being fat. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I'm happy. Life has been really good. Life has been really good, and I'm happy. And your comments of lose weight because being fat is not healthy, it's a lie. You're not my doctor. It's a lie. Stop lying to me. Pardon me. Leave me alone. I am fat. I'm fine with it, as you can tell. I'm fine with it. It physically feels good. But also, it's not who I am. Just like I'm clear that money doesn't make me a better or worse person. And just like I'm clear that whatever my type of intelligence is or isn't, doesn't make me a more worthy or less worthy person. The size of my clothes does not make me any more worthy, any less worthy of all good things in life. I once made $22 an hour, right? Now, when I want to take a $10,000 cruise, I take a $10,000 cruise. I took that Ritz-Carlton cruise. I saw a comment the other day. She was like, share your favorite, spoil you practices. And I was like, the Ritz-Carlton yacht at sea, right? If I want to take that cruise, I take that cruise. Neither one of those states of my life, $22 an hour, or I take a $10,000 cruise, neither one of those states means I'm a more or less worthy person. Neither one of those makes me any more deserving of all the good things in life. Whether I wear a size 22 or a size 12 or a size 2, I am no more or less deserving of all the good things in life. Leave me alone. I know what it was now. I watched last week's video where we talked about men. I did a live stream, a surprise live stream. Was it Thursday? It's hard to say. What is a day? I don't know what day. I don't know what day of the week anything is. And I just happened to talk a significant amount of time about men, and they're just men. You won't like it, okay? You won't like it. Don't go back and watch it. I even put a timestamp in the video, and I was like, stop watching here, okay? Because from here on, we talk about men, and you're not going to like it. And that's when the comments from Black women poured in that I needed to lose weight to be healthy so that men would be better to me. Get the fuck out of my face. Get out of my face. If you want to live your life like that, that's your choice. I recommend you don't. If you want to live your life as in there are some actions that you need to take to be loved, to be more deserving, to be treated with decency and respect, if you want to live your life that way, do it. But don't come over here. Don't talk to me like that. Leave me alone. Now I remember it. Now I know why. Still don't know how we got on this topic, but that's why I'm thinking about this, because I went back and watched the replay of that video, put the timestamps on and whatever, because it was long. And I was like, the first part of this video is helpful. The second part of this video, most people who get here are not going to like this. Stop watching now. I put that in the timestamps. Let me see what the video is about. It was just on Thursday. Popular move abroad plans that fail. That's right. If your move abroad plan includes like getting a job in another country or moving to a place but not getting residency there. We talked about those things, okay? Get out of my face. Get out of my face. You can live, if you have agency over your life. You can choose how you want to live. You can choose your values. If you have decided that you want to live a life where you see yourself as unworthy, and your goal in life is to earn respect and love and worthiness through achievement and accomplishment, that is a way to live. That's a way to live. And plenty of people do it. Plenty of people have done it. It's probably not going to go anywhere. You can keep living like that. That's why I don't like Black excellence. But I think that's the main message of Black excellence. If that's what you want for your life, have it. Enjoy it. Don't bring it over here. Leave me alone. With my good skin, but ones that I can't stop fixating on. Leave me alone over here. Let me have my peace. You're a human person. You are worthy of all good things, as you are. I value progress in my life, and I like to see things getting better, right? You might hear me talk sometimes. I may go outside and be like, I'd like to walk 3 miles today, and then tomorrow I'd like to walk 3 miles in a little less time. I like progress, right? But those things don't make me any more deserving. If it takes me an hour to cover 3 miles, or if I can run a 3-mile 5K race in 15 minutes, neither one of those makes me a better human person. Neither one of those makes me more deserving of being treated with decency and respect, kindness. Leave me alone. There is conditioning. So, hi, Janine. Hey, Janine Pretty. How can people say that? This is conditioning. It's all the same message. Black excellence saying, if you're a professor, you're more excellent than if you are a preschool teacher, right? It's all the same message. You are not worthy as you are, but your achievements can get you there. People aren't going to treat you well now, but your achievements maybe can help you get treated better, even though we know it's a lie. We know it's a lie, but we still live our lives that way. Some of you are living your life that way about weight. Some of you are living your life that way about money. You don't deserve because you don't have. Some of you are living your lives that way about relationships. You don't deserve love. There are a variety of ways that we live out this. Telling me to lose weight to be healthy is just one piece of that whole pie, which is Black women aren't deserving. If I know anything else, I know that's a lie. You're deserving because you are. I'm deserving because I am. If you don't believe that, spend your time working on that. Fix that. Stop commenting in my chat. People are bothered. So part of the conversation that we got to is that men sometimes, mostly, all the time, are bothered when they see a woman at peace without them. And then here come Black women saying to me, trying to bother me, an unbothered at peace woman. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Crystal said she appreciated the second half. I like to have conversations here, right? I value community and connection. I've written these things out. I value community and connection. I value progress. I value these things. I love having these conversations here. But there are things that make me mad. And commenting to me that I need to lose weight so I can be healthy makes me mad. Because, bitch, I'm healthy. Okay? I have good genes. I'm healthy. Leave me alone. There is a sector of Black women on YouTube that fat shame because they're pick-me's and they believe in catering to the male gaze. Absolutely. One of the things I said was, I don't like the term male-centered. What is the better term? And then I was like, oh, duh, patriarchy, right? There are people who are all in on patriarchy and they think they can win. They think they can win the patriarchy game, right? They think that making men's priorities their priorities will help them come up in the world of men, and they can cross over and receive the benefits that patriarchy will give people. That's an approach. That's an approach. Okay, that's an approach. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. If you can't center yourself and your people, how fun would life be if we didn't center Black women? Where would the fun be? I value fun also. I guess fun isn't a way to put it. I've never written down that I value fun, but I do like to laugh and have a good time. Where would that be if not for Black women? Because the whole world is copying us when the world wants to be and experience and embody fun and freedom, they imitate Black women. So apparently we are fun and freedom. Why would you give that up to get what you think men are going to give you? A lot of sisters are patriarchs. A lot of Black women, a lot is a strong word, strong phrase, but there are Black women. A lot of Black women who are not here on this channel. There are Black women who are bought in. They believe that that's the pathway, right? The thing that you don't need to go watch that video because here I'm gonna tell you everything I said. One of the things I said is that there are Black men who think that they can get to whiteness. They can breed their way to whiteness, right? There are Black women who think they can Black men their way to freedom, right? Just like there are Black men who think they can breed their way to whiteness. They make enough white biracial babies, they get closer to the benefits that whiteness has presented people in the world. They believe that. I believe that. I believe they believe that, right? But there are also Black women who think that if they hitch themselves to Black men, they can come up a little bit. They can Black men their way to some benefit in life. I know it. I know it. I wouldn't recommend trying that. But if that's what you think, let us know how it works. Let us know how it works. Thank you for the super sticker, D. I hope you're still here. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate you. You know, the money, the super chat, super stickers go to the Vacarian Sabbatical Fund. We do need to pick another person and get some money together soon. A YouTuber named Tom Grossi did a 24/7 live stream until he hit $1 million in donations. I'm thinking about doing a 24/7 live stream until I hit 25K, so we can send another Black woman on sabbatical after I move. If I move into a place after the summit and all that stuff. So maybe like one day this winter, or it would take days. It took him, I want to say 6 days to raise $1 million. Now he's a bigger YouTuber, right? But I think $25,000, I think I could do it in a week. Live streaming like he slept on live stream. I'm thinking about doing that. But anyway, thank you for the super chat, D, that super sticker. That money goes to the Vacarian Sabbatical Fund, which we're trying to get to 25K so we can give it to a Black woman to send her on sabbatical like we've already done twice before. 2 other Black women have received their money already. They're 25K to go on sabbatical. Erica De Niro TV, when people ask me, what do? I used to say, win free shit on the radio. Oh, it's nice. Thank you, R. Adams. Thank you for the super chat. Cree Girl says, thank you. I also want to get R&E before, I was able to get R&E before it ended this past April. Oh, good. So you got your residency in Mexico. Fantastic. Good. Yeah, the R&E ended. The residency through regularization in Mexico ended. Let's see. It ended in April something. We did the April 20 something run and then it ended. So we didn't even get to do the May run. Good. Thank you very much for that. And thank you for this super chat. Oh, why can't I get it on the screen? Let me find it. The one. Thank you for the super chat. I have lived my life by this motto. To thine own self be true. That's right. Because girl or friend, I don't know if you're girl, friend, nobody else is going to help you be a better you. Nobody else is going to prioritize you enjoying your life if you don't. Right? If you do, things happen. If you do, right? Sometimes my friends be like, I think my life would be better if XYZ. And I'll be like, I support you in that. Sometimes my support is just good thoughts. But sometimes there's a thing that I can do to help support them in that, right? But you got to start it. Thank you very much for that super chat. Brandy, I need more fun. Listen, when the whole world over, when people want to embody fun, what they do is act like Black women, right? They imitate Black women. So I would say if you need more fun, you need more time with Black women. The Exodus Summit community, exodussummit.com/community, the Facebook group, they're getting together all over the world. My birthday party is July 5 in Bogota. So we're coming to Bogota. There's a meetup in the Exodus Summit community for that. And there's some of you have emailed me your RSVPs and I need to reply to those. I may do that today. Thank you. If you've emailed your RSVP to me, thank you. I have received some things in the inbox. I just haven't opened the inbox lately to reply. It's been at least 10 days, maybe longer, 2 weeks, maybe. Thank you. Yeah, so get in community with Black women. That can be online community. It can be physical community. Welcome, Tiffany Jackson. Thank you. Okay, you're new. Sometimes I'll be like, I hope new people aren't here because I haven't been the nicest person today. But since you are new and you are here, welcome. There are days when I am more on topic. There are days when I am a little less sweary. Welcome. I'm glad that you're here. Yes, welcome, Tiffany. Girl, that was the point of the video. Like that was the point of the video. You'd be surprised how many comments I deleted. I don't delete too many often. I don't often delete comments because I'd be like, that's my point. You're proving my point. But I went through because I don't want to see that. This is my channel. Come on my channel, tell me to lose weight. Leave me alone. Okay, this is on topic, and you love the swears. My dad was like, "You be cussing on YouTube?" I was like, "Well, you know, Dad, I'm 50 now. I'm 50 now. I can do what I want." Stretch with Delia's child. I didn't meet the financial requirements for residency in Mexico, is what I assume you're talking about. So they didn't grant me a temporary residency. I'm heartbroken. So the other way through residency in Mexico, aside from their temporary requirements, was regularization, which has ended. They've ended suspended is the word they use, suspended the regularization program. If you don't meet Mexico's residency requirements, I would start looking at other countries and see if there's any place that you do. Colombia is a little strange. Colombia has a digital nomad visa, but that's a visitor's visa, not a residency visa that I qualify for. Now I'm gonna figure it out. I feel like Colombia is just gonna change the rules, but we'll see what happens. And I have an attorney helping me try to figure this out. But I would look for some place, the difference between a residency visa and a digital nomad visa is often the digital nomad visa is not a pathway to long-term residency. It's just, you can stay for a year and then you can often renew. Colombia, I can stay for a year and then renew, I think 3 years or something. I don't know. I really don't know, even though I've already applied for it. But I would look at other places and see if there are things that you do qualify for. A video that I want to make this upcoming week is a continuation of the video that I started the other week that I didn't finish. Okay. So the other week on live, we talked about, what was that video? Oh, making your first move abroad dollars. And I said that one of the ways we were going to talk about was like work exchanges and student visas and non-traditional ways of getting into another country and staying there. And then I finished that video without getting to that point because it was 2.5 hours long and I forgot to look back at my notes and I didn't realize I hadn't gotten that far in my outline. So I do want to talk about ways that people get residency in places. Inside of Exodus Summit, maybe 2023, we had a special session. No. This was not it was an Exodus Summit workshop, but it was not associated with the annual summit. We had a special session with Latrice. Come on, memory, you can do it. She used to be penniless in Paris. Now she's Paris Chic Code. Latrice, who is Paris Chic Code, and she talked to us about the student visa in France. You don't have to be student aged to get the student visa in France. If you are taking any kind of class in France that is 91 days long or longer, you can get a 1-year visa to live in France. And then you can extend that or something. I don't remember. Okay. So I would like to do a video talking about some alternative ways to get out of the United States and into another country. Roy Wood Jr. just did an interview where he said to young people, leave, right? Instead of staying here and struggling, leave. And, I think that there are ways that young people, and not just young people, old people, people in the middle, can leave the United States that are non-traditional. One of those ways is maybe you take language or cooking or something classes in France that are 91 days long or longer. That gives you a full year of French visa, student visa, and time to figure out a more long-term approach. Ms. Eva's Closet says Paraguay doesn't have a lot of requirements for residency. All right. I think if you make $1,000 a month or so from a job that you don't have, as a freelancer or from an online job or from your own business or something that's location independent, I think Panama and Ecuador are also good choices. Yeah. Hi, Candy. Panama, with the Panama card issues happening. I don't know what you mean by, I need to look that up. Could go there. I don't know what you mean by that, Candy. I'm gonna have to look that up. Okay. Sylvia, I'd really love to know more about the student visa approach. Yeah, if you are at a stage in your life, you don't have to be a traditional student age. If you are at a stage in your life to do some school stuff, go to Europe. University in Europe, in a lot of Europe, you can find English programs, right? Programs that are done in the English language. If you're one of those Black women who cannot stay out of school and you want to go get a degree or another degree after that, go to Europe, right? Not only will you get that student visa that lets you live in Europe for X amount of time, but tuition is going to be pennies on the dollar. 2,000 euros for a semester, I think is what it was back in 2020 or so when I interviewed the young lady about her program. She was in a PhD program for like $2,000 a semester in Europe somewhere. I know I'm not giving you, I think she was in Croatia or maybe Chechnya. Where was she? Oh, is this you? What do you mean? That's me? Oh, yeah. She was somewhere in Europe. Can you work with a student visa? It depends on the country. Some yes, some no. I don't know what I don't know what France says. Yeah. So maybe we'll talk later sometime next week. I'll do some research and maybe have a chance to actually interview some people and put together a video on some alternative ways to get out of the United States for not just student age students, but for people. So work exchanges, y'all know I've done work exchanges where you get free room and board around the world. It's been a while since we've talked about that. There are a variety of things that I think would fit in this video, but student visas and work exchanges are things that we haven't talked about in a while that I'd like to get a video about. Okay, you feel better now? Okay, yeah, there are other options. There are other countries. Okay, Mexico is relatively expensive to get residency in now. Expensive is I think it's around $4,300 per month in income, or $70K in an account or two, right? If you have $70,000 or so in an account, or around $4,300 per month in income, you can apply for residency in Mexico through their financial solvency program. But that's a significant amount of money. If you don't have that, I would look for other countries. See what's out there. You'll be surprised. Inside of the Exodus ASAP membership, we've recently had, let me go to Exodus ASAP. We've recently had people share their experience getting residency in certain places. Let me go in there. And so that might be it might be, enter, please. Stupid computer. That might be an eye opener for you. So let's see. Let me go to the residency section. Peace out protocol. Come on, computer, you can do it. View lessons. My computer is acting like I'm asking it to do a million things. Let's see, co-living in Ecuador. Where's the section on where am I going? Residency. Okay. Belize residency spotlight, Ecuador residency spotlight, France residency spotlight, Jamaica, Mexico, Panama, Thailand, Spain. So we had women from our community, and one of them, the Mexico one, was a Mexico facilitator. Right. We had people come in and talk about residency recently in Belize, Ecuador, France, Jamaica, Mexico, Panama, Spain, Thailand. If one of those is on your list and you need some details on how to do it, what the process looks like, what are the requirements, you should join us in the Exodus ASAP membership. Close. Exodus ASAP is a monthly membership. You decide how long you stay, right? So you may want to stay for 1 month only. Make some progress in the part of moving abroad that you need the most help with, whether it's residency or your stuff or where's the money going to come from, right? You may want to stay for 1 month, but we also have 3-month and 12-month memberships, right? So that you can make some progress on your move abroad. So we've talked about how the United States kind of forced us into, I'm linking to the wrong thing. We've talked about how the United States, I don't want to say forced us, but kind of forced us or tricked us into like being workers and not people. And then just being people who bought, hyper-consumed without thought, right? Without intention. And we talked about how I, leaving the United States, was able to get a whole better perspective on that. I'm not the only one, right? It's a common thing. Black women who have left the United States and live somewhere else don't shop like that anymore. Don't over consume like that anymore. Don't overwork like that anymore, right? Have a whole life instead of just work. So I hope that this video was helpful for you to think about what the Target boycott can lead to, because I think most of you said you are boycotting. Most of you said you are. Winsome says my fat hurts. What hurts, Winsome? I'm not saying be fat. I'm not here to tell anybody to be fat. I'm telling you I enjoy it. It feels good to me. It looks good on me. Leave me alone. Okay, I'm not telling anybody else to be fat. Okay, because you do need to get clothes with elastic, right? Sometimes, and when sometimes if I want to wear a cute dress, I do have to wear I wear shorts underneath, right? So my thighs don't rub raw. I'm not telling anybody else to be fat. I'm telling you, I'm fat. I'm gonna be fat. Leave me alone. That's what I'm saying. Winsome, I think, is at a different point in the interview. I mean, at a different point in the video, in the live stream. That's what I'm saying. Okay, back on topic. Amina said in the session last night, we had 2 women realize they had the money already to leave. Yeah, sometimes if you don't know what a place costs, and you also don't have a good handle on what your money really even is. Some of us don't know yet. How much is our investment account bringing us every month? If we were to take that money out every month, our dividends, how much would that be? How much is our retirement? We don't know yet, right? So good. That's good news. Amina is our community manager. Is that your title, Amina? Community manager in the Exodus ASAP membership. Yes, the Classy Hacker, the Exodus ASAP accountability groups were really good. They're amazing. Having an accountability buddy is the biggest indicator that you're going to actually do it. Anything, whatever the thing is. I don't care if it's leaving the country or running a 5K. Having an accountability partner is the biggest indicator that you're going to do it. Get you an accountability partner. Come into Exodus ASAP. I think what I was saying is that you choose how long you're going to stay. So when you see that it's $247 a month right now, don't freak out. We're not saying $247 a month for the rest of your life. For some of you, it might be $247 a month for the rest of the year. For some of you, it might be $247 once, right? Some of you will come in, get what you need, and go. We love that for you. Let's get out the country. Let's get some progress. Amina told us the other day, did you say 30 women or 40 women from the membership now have residency in another country? If you want to make some progress, come on. Come on to ASAP. Chanel, I found out this week I've hit my FIRE number. Congratulations to you, Chanel. Amazing. FIRE is Financial Independence Retire Early. The movement that we talked about a little bit ago is that there has been a significant movement among Black women, among everyone, but in particular among Black women, or not in particular, but because I talk to Black women. There's been a movement among Black women to figure out how to cash out, right? Kirsten and Julian Saunders' book is called Cashing Out. How do I get out of this system? I don't want to stay in this hamster wheel. And a step in that process is how much money do I need to live out the rest of my life? Not necessarily how much money do I need to have today. There are different forms of FIRE. There are people who have hit financial independence because they have enough money to live for the rest of their lives. But there are also people who have hit financial independence because their investments will continue to make them money to live the rest of their lives. You know that you see the difference? There are also people who have what they call barista FIRE, I think, whereas as long as I have some little job, right? Not a major job, some little job, some little something, right? They call it barista FIRE because they're like, if I just get a little job at Starbucks, a little part-time job, I'm good forever. The money I have plus my little job, I'm good forever. A lot of retirees live like that anyway. A lot of retirees, a little something. Let me drive. My brother retired and he drives, right? A little something. I got enough to leave, to not work anymore. Now I just need a little something coming in. Congratulations, Chanel, on knowing the number, which is a big step that most of us have not done, right? I haven't done my number recently. I did a number years ago, but things are changing for me. Congratulations on knowing the number. Congratulations on seeing that number and not letting it scare you off. I think that's a second step in this process. Sometimes we see that number on paper. If I were to say, in Bogota, my life is going to cost me $5,000 a month with kids for the rest of until I hit a certain age, and then my life would cost me $2,000 a month, right? And then if you look at what that number is, a lot of women are like, forget it. Forget it. I'm never going to do it. So congratulations on knowing the number, on believing you could get to the number, on working towards that number. And also on, I don't know if you've done this yet, but also on using that money. Because there are quite a few people, probably here in this chat, who have enough to retire, to walk away, but just can't bring yourself to use that money yet. So congratulations, Chanel. This is big. More of this in 2025. More of this. More Black women saying, I am financially independent. Now, if I choose to, I can say F that job, F that country, F that relationship, that marriage, that whatever. I'm out. Thank you. Well done. Well done. No, ma'am says, I got Mexico temporary residency in Atlanta 4 weeks ago. Congratulations. Still on a high. Ask me anything. Stephanie letting y'all know to love yourself, like Whitney said, is the greatest love of all. It absolutely is. Congratulations. Yes, residency in Mexico is harder to get than it used to be, but it's worth it. Residency in Mexico means you have a country now where you can go and stay as long as you want. It means that you don't have to worry about future changes in their requirements, because there was a while ago when it was only about $2,200, $2,300 a month, probably 2020, 2019. You only needed $2,000 something a month to get residency in Mexico. Now you need $4,000 something, right? So it means you don't have to deal with changes in the future. You don't have to worry about changes in the future. But I think most importantly, it just means that you have a place that can be your home. Mexico, it also means that you don't have a certain amount of days that you need to be in Mexico. One of the benefits of getting residency in Mexico is they don't care how long you actually stay in Mexico after the fact. I love Portugal, but I don't plan to get residency in Portugal because I don't want to commit to being in Portugal for that many months out of the year. Mexico's like, whatever, do what you want. Mexico, I think Costa Rica, Panama, they're like, do what you want. You have the residency. Congratulations. We'll see you or we won't see you. Do whatever. If you get if you want to get permanent residency, you may need to actually stay there. But if you don't need permanent, if temporary is good for you, good for you. Good. Zane, does it have to be retirement income? Can it be actually work income? It depends on which one. So for Mexico, they don't care. I don't think Mexico cares. The sessions in Exodus ASAP will give you more clear info, but I don't think they care. For Panama, it has to be retirement. Panama is only about $1,000 a month that you need to get residency in Panama. And I think it's permanent residency in Panama with the pensionado visa, but it needs to be for the rest of your life, like a veteran's benefit, like a retirement benefit. Different countries have different requirements. Okay, so we've been on 4 different things. We've been on, there's nothing new. I'm trying to act like I normally stay on topic when we know I don't. We know I don't. That's nothing new. But I do feel like I want to make sure that we covered what I came here to cover today, which was, if you've been boycotting Target and you're like, who else can get it? Okay, let's look at what is not aligning with your life. It might be your entire state. You may decide, looking at things, you may decide your state does not deserve your money anymore and you're leaving. If I lived in Florida, I would take a look at that. Texas, Alabama, oh my gosh, Alabama's prison system. So, I be reading stuff and watching stuff that is not related to the work that I need to get done. So I didn't get done the work I needed to get done this week. But what I did learn about was Alabama's prison for profit system and how it's even more egregious, even more greedy, even more slavery-like than I knew anyway. So if I was in a state where I was like, they don't deserve my money, I'm getting up out. I think that's a logical next step for some women. If you're like, this country doesn't deserve my money and I'm getting out, they don't deserve any of the money that I'm making, I'm getting out. You still pay taxes when you leave the United States, but your tax burden is lowered if you spend more than a certain number of days out of the United States, right? So I think that some of this early boycott, this boycott, can lead us to some more liberation practices, right? I think for a lot of Black women, what I've seen is this Target boycott has helped you at least come to terms with the amount of consuming and spending unnecessarily that you had been doing. What Target was doing was just separating you from your money. And I think we've seen some differences because Walgreens don't have all the shiny stuff that Target has. Lean into this liberation. Thank you, Zane, right? Lean into that liberation. Lean into these liberation practices. What is next? After this Target and whoever else, Amazon, whatever else boycott, what are other ways that you can make sure that you're aligning your actions with your values? For a lot of us here, that is going to mean leaving the United States. If the United States is not aligned with your values, with how you want to be seen, how you want to be represented around the world, you're going to have to leave. I don't think fixing the problem is going to work. There's been an attempt to fix since 1865. I think the answer, Roy Wood Jr. and I think your answer is to leave. And so I think that that's the thing that's going to come out of this. There's already been an exodus, right? I saw a video this week. She called it a second Great Migration, right? It's already happening. Black people are already leaving the United States. But I think that some new people will be introduced to, where's my money going? Is that where I want my money to be going? I need to make some changes so my money doesn't go there. That includes your state. That includes businesses inside of your state. Been a long time. So Florida, I liked house sitting in Florida, but I never wanted to spend money in Florida because Black people weren't supposed to be spending our money in Florida. So at one point, I just had to say, even though I love these Florida house sits, I'm not going back to Florida. I'm not doing it. I'm not spending my money in the state of Florida, right? What is the next logical step, right? How can we keep this going? Snowball this in your life. How do you snowball it? Yeah, I don't remember who said it. I wish I could give her credit, but I don't remember. I watch too many videos and I'm reading a book on Right now, I'm not even sure if it's in the bedroom or if it's on the kitchen table. I'm reading one book on like liberation practices, but it wasn't there. I'm pretty sure it was a YouTube video. There's an Exodus, a Black Sit. Krishan calls it a Black Sit, the Black Sit Global. We're leaving. And I think that examining one thing leads you to examining many things. Just like examining our hair and deciding that we wanted to wear our hair natural led us to examining other parts of our lives where we were doing things because we thought we had to do it that way. And then we were realizing we don't have to do it that way, right? Dominoes fall. And so the target domino, I think, is a domino in that same like trail of dominoes is who else is getting my money that I don't want to get my money. And if I lived in the state of Alabama, all those fast food chains who use imprisoned workers, right? Slave labor, they'd be the next to get it, right? Wendy's, McDonald's, and Burger Kings in Alabama have contracts with prisons. They'd be the next to get it, right? Made me the whole state of Alabama. You got to get up out of Alabama because if you can't pay your rent and you can't buy food in Alabama and you can't buy, right, you may need to get up out of Alabama. Okay. If you don't want your money to go to Florida, Alabama, Texas, okay, well, where are you going to go? I think one of these places on the list that we just read off. Okay. Leaving. She would be so glad to see it. I think she'd be glad to see it. Right. We kind of got stuck is not the word. We didn't complete the mission, right? We didn't complete the exodus, the migration. We didn't complete it the first time. Let's complete it. You can get to a place where you can live a life where the things that you are fighting to get in the United States just exist. You can leave the United States to get the things that you think you have to fight for to get in the US. They just exist in other places. We out. We leaving. Gone. Soon. Let's go. Okay. So I have a whole bunch of videos here and a whole bunch of videos on the Exodus Summit YouTube channel, a whole bunch of information in the Exodus Summit community. If this is a brand new conversation for you, welcome. I would look at the playlist on my channel called, if I can be quick about it, because girl, we going into hour 3. I gotta go. My throat hurts and I'm hungry. But I do have a playlist for beginners, right? The people who are just starting to think about leaving the United States. Oh, it's bopping for beginners, which is good. I think that's good. A good place to start. Bopping for beginners is like leaving the US, not necessarily moving to a place, just traveling the world full time. If you have a remote job, let's go. If you don't have a remote job, let's get a remote job or let's retire or something. I'm going to link to my Bopping for Beginners playlist here. Okay, thank you kindly. All right. So I hope I did a good job of going back 3 hours later and tying some things together, okay? Tying some things together. We're making progress in this thing, this boycott. That progress can lead you to more eye-opening about how you do and don't want to live your life. And I think if you're a Black woman from the United States, that's going to lead you to leaving the United States. I hope you do. Bogota's nice. So I'm trying to figure out if it's raining or not. The woman's walking with an umbrella, but the sidewalks are dry. So I'm assuming that it just is about to start raining. Either that or she's just predicting. Things are good in Bogota. I went and looked at an apartment again. I thought on paper that apartment was one I was going to be like, sign me up today. But instead, it was like another one that could work. It's not A+. It didn't have it wasn't a real terrace. It was just a balcony. But things are good. And I'm glad to be here. Bogota, Colombia. So Colombia doesn't make it the easiest to move to. So I'm not having roadblocks getting my digital nomad visa, but it's going to take time to get my digital nomad visa. I sent my stuff in this week, did my fingerprints. Was that this week or last week? I did my fingerprints, and then I had to send them all my documents and stuff. So that's in progress. So things are good. I've got no complaints about Bogota even still, except that I don't have any friends here yet. So it'd be nice if you would move here too. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah. Nice little view, little tiny sliver of a window. Little tiny window. One of my things that I want is a house with I want it to have a view of east and north and west, because then I can get a mountain view, but we'll see if that works. We'll see. An apartment, I mean. Okay, friends. Thank you for spending time this Saturday. As I always say, thank you for your grace with me. I've been off topic. I've been hostile. I've been angry. I've been giggly. I've been hyper fixated on this zit on my forehead. And you've given me tremendous grace, support, care during this conversation. Please don't treat me better than you treat you. Remember to give yourself that same grace. If you don't give yourself the grace to be a human person, people will treat you like you're not a human person. Thank you. All right, friends, I'll see you guys again very soon. Have a wonderful day. YouTube Success Society, we get together tomorrow, so I'll see y'all tomorrow. Okay. Bye, friends.